welcome. I'm Josh Haave, host of Paradigm Shift podcast. I'm super excited to be in person today with Lauren Adams and Jeremy Baker of Letter 4 Inc., design build firm here in Los Angeles. And thanks for having me in your beautiful new office, right?
Thanks.
You guys are just, how long have you been in this space?
Almost a year.
Yeah, about a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I've been meaning to come in. My favorite coffee shop is across the street, so I've been meaning to pop in. But why don't you guys tell me a little bit about your backgrounds to start and how the Letter 4 came to be?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've been in business 13 years, but we've worked together, the two of us, for 15 or more at this point. So I'm from the East Coast originally. Moved out here 20 plus years ago now, if that dates me. And worked for a few different firms, smaller firms for the most part, until I worked at Gensler for a bit, and I sat next to a good friend of Jeremy's that he had worked with. And I was licensed at the time, so when Jeremy needed a licensed architect, he reached out to his friend Sean, and Sean introduced us, and yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Nice.
But yeah, I mostly have a single-family residential background, except for the time I was at Gensler.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved out here in 2004. Kind of grew up in construction and carpentry with my grandfather, and my parents pretty much flipped every home we lived in, although it happened very slowly, room by room. But I moved out here in 2004 to work for a hospitality design construction management group. They had an office out here and had an opening to run that studio. And then around 2008, I left that company to go on my own. And like Lauren said, I needed a licensed architect for a couple of my projects, so we teamed up. And at a certain point, we were like, hey, let's offer this service. We want to do this turnkey service for our clients. And yeah, 2010, Letter 4 was born.
Very cool. And I gotta ask, what's like the Letter 4? What does it mean?
It's kind of
Jeremy's favorite question.
It is my favorite question for potential employees and potential clients. But the answer is a little different now because our logo has changed this year. So we used to have an icon that was kind of like 4Ds rotating, and then we had a tagline that was a design and development firm, and that kind of came about first before the name because we were trying to figure out a name forever, and we didn't want to be a typical design firm that had like our initials or our last names in it. So we came up with the tagline first, a design and development firm. So design and development, both starting with the letter D, the fourth letter of the alphabet. So Letter 4.
Very cool. Yeah. My background kind of seems similar, like you growing up with your grandfather. I lived in a constant construction zone.
Yeah, me too.
So,
my dad's a carpenter, and they're always working on whatever house we lived in, and they still are. Yeah.
Love it. So how have your experiences, how have they made how have you utilized those to kind of better the industry? You guys seem like you're doing something different. I was checking out your very cool newsletter here in physical paper that you don't see very often anymore. I love it. So how would you say you guys are doing something different than the other firms?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think we're a lot different in the sense that, I mean, not just being design build, which has become more popular, but the way our business is structured, being 50-50 owners in the business as an architect and general contractor, because a lot of design build firms are a contractor bringing in, say a designer or a draftsperson, typically not even necessarily an architect, or an architect who typically will partner with a particular contractor, but not, owners in the business. It really means like we're held accountable start to finish. There's no finger pointing because you can't do it, it's all us.
I mean, I think we're always trying to not reinvent what we do, but kind of grow in what we do and the offerings that we give to our clients. I mean, the design build process is constantly evolving internally for us and how we're running our projects or running projects externally and internally. We're always looking to better ourselves, but also just how do we get our services out there. So we're constantly looking at that. We've kind of done a lot of things different over the past couple of years to kind of offer our services in a way that's not so scary for potential clients that maybe haven't embarked on a project where they're kind of jumping into a full project with this huge price tag. So we kind of get them in on a much smaller scale just to kind of talk through expectations, what they can, expect as far as an all-in budget, what restrictions or requirements might be required for their build, so that they can get a real sense of what the project's going to take to get to the finish line before they jump in wholeheartedly.
Yeah. One thing I saw on your guys' website, and I actually downloaded it, you guys have like this checklist. For
project planning pack.
Yeah. For residential and commercial, right? So I thought that was really very cool for someone that's a logical thinker to kind of walk them through it. That's very
it's
very
funny because we're constantly interviewing our potential clients as much as they're interviewing us, and we've found a lot of success with our current clients on people that really respect how transparent we are and like how thoughtful we are to kind of put that process in front of them early. So people that actually do their homework and read through that stuff really have the best success with us.
We're really trying to educate, just put a lot of information out there so people know what to expect and can do some pre-planning for themselves before they jump into it.
Very cool. Yeah. Services, I mean, you guys kind of do, it's design build, you're kind of vertically integrated. I love that you guys are collaborating. I mean, people can't see it. Everybody's under one roof here. I love that when you can, everyone designing it and also building it is under one roof and they're collaborating. I love the design build process when
it works.
It really is one team start to finish. Our clients get to know both sides, both the architecture and construction team when they start from the very beginning. And then, we also have in-house interior design, and that team is growing. And then also a landscape design partner as well. So really trying to do, the full offering for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times, and I'm sure that you or your listeners have asked this question or heard this question, like, what's it going to cost me per square foot right now? And like, that's such a open question with so many answers, right? Like, what does that mean? What's included in that? Because there's, we have our soft costs, we have our hard costs, we have the interior design, there's the landscape design, there's other consultants that we could bring into a project depending on the scale. And I think, that's the hardest question for me ever to answer, because I'm just like, I feel like I need to send you this blog article that we wrote so you can understand like what really goes into that answer.
We want to give people the full picture, but then it oftentimes ends up scaring people away because they heard a much different number from someone else who wasn't including all the things that we're including.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, the times we're in right now, like pricing a week from now could be just completely out the window. So, wow. What are some of the benefits for people that don't know too much about design build? Like, what are the benefits compared to like traditional
design bid build
methods?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a streamlined process. You're working with one team from start to finish. I mean, we definitely do things a little bit differently than others, starting with our project action plans, but really pricing early on so people can understand that total picture and what, the full project is going to cost them before they jump into the rest of it, I think is, really one of the main values in how we do things. And then, like I said, that kind of finger pointing that can happen, I've been there before we started this business, dealing with other contractors, and I'm pointing the finger at them, they're pointing it at me, and we're trying to work it out. But really, with the design build method, like, we're accountable to our client, and we're looking out for their best interest, and we're the one person, the one entity that they come to if something's going wrong. So we want it to go right.
I think a lot of people who are kind of stuck on the traditional design bid build have this kind of thought where it's like, I'm going to go with somebody maybe the cheapest, or maybe somebody's not the cheapest, but somebody that maybe just feels right, and they just don't go into it understanding how to maybe even read their plans. They haven't worked with the contractor through the design phase, and the architect maybe just trying to get them a permit, not really thinking through the nuances of what it's going to take to actually build a project. So for us, like, we really try to be transparent early on. And, we are bidding things really early, so we're trying to account for any changes that might happen, with the market. And it's just been really beneficial for our clients to really have that transparency and understanding of what a whole project's going to take.
Very cool. What are some trends you're seeing right now in the industry, whether it's architectural design or some of the methods in the area, or if there's any, I know we're in LA, but is there anything going on in LA that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I think one trend, but it's also partially driven by new code requirements, is that, all new construction needs to be all electric. So we're definitely seeing a lot of people asking for, essentially, all electric or green building, energy efficient homes, which, we think is great, of course. Design wise, because our approach is so custom to our clients, we tend to not follow, specific design trends as much.
Right.
We like to stick with authentic materials, and we like to work with companies that are good communicators and can deliver. So I wouldn't say we have any necessarily design trends that we follow.
I think as a firm, like, we're always trying to become more sustainable in what we're doing, and that's difficult in some areas, especially in Los Angeles. I mean, there's certain costs that come with that, and not everybody can afford that to a certain level. But we always have that at top of mind. But yeah, I think, like, for us, it's just really following the code changes, not just within the state, but also within each city that we work within, because their interpretations change, how you can do things and how we need to structure it when we present our drawings to the city to get things through. But we're happy with, like, especially that code change that's coming up with, everything being all electric and having to do solar. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, ADUs definitely are very popular, and, with people being a bit nervous about, cost of construction and interest rates and all of that.
Yeah.
We're noticing that, a lot of our clients are looking at phasing projects.
Yeah.
So maybe they're building a larger ADU first and then moving into that while we then renovate the front house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing all that.
Or also just multi-generational housing where, maybe the parents are living in an ADU on the site, and then, the family, the rest of the family is living in the front house. Just, to kind of keep family close and make housing more affordable, because that's an issue here, of course.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing it even in our neighborhood, Culver City here. A lot of ADUs popping up, and with these little houses around here in the neighborhood. So cool. I got some what I think are fun questions to finish up. But when you guys were kids, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I mean, I wanted to be an architect from the time I was 12 or less. Yeah. I mean, we were always working on whatever house we lived in. My mom was a teacher, still is actually, and went to school for fine arts. And then my dad being a carpenter and always working in construction, it was kind of like the natural combination of what they did. So yeah, I knew pretty early.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was infatuated with finding things in the dirt and digging holes, and I mean,
nice.
Either that or maybe, I don't know, being a dirt bike racer, but that was a long time ago.
Love it. What was the Temple of Doom movie?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
It's still my favorite. I probably watched each one of those 100 times. I just dragged my daughter to the theater.
Awesome. Well, what is I mean, I love this industry, but there's always things, like, what's your least favorite thing about our industry?
That's a loaded question.
I mean, I would say one of the things is just that, as professionals, we don't necessarily look out for our common interests. We might see ourselves as being in competition when we aren't necessarily. And so, someone, say, pricing a project or giving unrealistic numbers or timelines to a potential client really does us all a disservice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's been a real challenge for us. We've lost projects because we're realistic about timelines and budgets, and because someone else is saying something that's not.
Yeah, I would say the hardest thing is, not only on the client end, but being a contractor with our subcontractors, other consultants, is people not following the process. If we've developed, the processes that we have over the past 13 years, and there's a reason for it, and we hire certain people because we want to work with them, but we want you also to respect, our professional, process and like how we do things, because it's going to make things easier for all of us and make the project go a lot smoother. So if people deviate from the process, it kind of drives me a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we feel like we need psychology degrees, which, you know, because ultimately a lot of the business is, you know, not the design work we do or the quality of construction, it's those relationships.
People's, the soft skills sometimes,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what's the favorite thing about our industry then?
I mean, I really enjoy, you know, besides the process, the finished product, and having, you know, whether it's a home or a business, like having our clients move in and really see that, you know, what we created together is working for them and they're happy. Their business is successful if it's a commercial space, or, you know, as a family, they're growing in their home and they're happy there.
Yeah, cool. I'd have to agree with that. And I think the other thing that, I don't know, that I'm really proud of in what we're doing is just like the space that we've created for people that work for us. You know, we really value work-life balance, and, you know, we listen to our employees, and we really want to make sure that, like, they're spending a lot of time here, that it's comfortable and they're getting what they want. And I feel like that was a thing that number one rule when we started the company. When we get to the point of having employees, we want to make sure that we're not driving this ship where people have to work so much overtime, or they don't have a great work-life balance, because we've worked for firms in the past where that was the case, and we didn't want that, and I think we achieved that, and I think it's great.
And it's kind of a reputation that our industry has too, just especially on the architectural side, just working crazy hours and firms being slave drivers and taking advantage. And so we want it to be something very different from that.
I'm definitely a survivor of that old mentality. I think that's how I first found you guys, like on Instagram or LinkedIn, when I saw, you know, you guys were posting some photographs of like your company. Somebody was having a birthday or something, and you're having a lunch at our local cafe, and some people talk about that, but you guys are doing it, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, we try.
Last question, I guess. What belief do you guys have that or unpopular opinion maybe that most people aren't aware of? It doesn't even have to be construction related, but.
I mean, I guess, you know, in terms of like being, you know, a business owner, you know, we're not just here to make money, right? You know, I definitely have to support my family, and there's that part of it, but we're here also to, you know, create beautiful work, make other people happy, and have, you know, happy staff. And
I mean, I was going to say something along the same lines. It's not all contractors are evil. They're all trying to get your money.
Right.
You know, we want to give you a good product. You know, product. We want to make sure that, you know, you're happy in the end, but we also want to manage expectations. So don't go with the cheapest guy.
No, I agree, and so I don't know what I was going to say there, but anyway, no. I really appreciate your guys' time, and look forward to seeing you guys grow and build these very cool projects. Where should everybody find you? Where's the best place to go learn more or reach out to you guys?
I mean, really, our website, we put a lot of effort into, you know, putting a lot of great information on our website, so lettercore.com.
Okay.
And from there, you can find all of our other social links.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I will link that in the show notes.
Appreciate
in the podcast below, and look forward to talking again soon.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome. We decided to take a little tour with Letter 4 here on one of their projects after we talked, and I'm kind of excited. I'm feeling like Bob Vila here, like this old house. You're making my dreams come true right here. But we're here in Culver City neighborhood, right?
Yep.
And why don't you guys show me around? Tell me a little bit about. I guess let's start by what we talked earlier about the design build process that you guys go through with your clients, but. What maybe walk us through that a little bit on
in real life
on this particular house? Yeah.
I mean, just to start initial phases, we started these clients off with our project action plan. So we looked at, you know, their project goals, what we could do on the lot, any limitations we might have. And then we went through some conceptual design iterations, different sketches, different options. They ultimately landed on one, and then we priced it out, as we typically do, looking at that all-in project budget. Basically, we want the design and the budget to align before we move forward with technical phases. So that all worked out and worked for their budget. And then, the design really hasn't changed much since that initial phase.
Yeah, they were ready to get out. Their house was pretty small.
Yeah.
It was maybe around 1,100 square feet, and I think we pretty much doubled in size here, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Kind of maximize the space we can get on the lot for them, really. I mean, it's not a huge lot here in Culver City, but we want to get them as much space for the growing family as we could.
Yeah, so 2 little kids,
Yeah.
Toddler and a baby, so they were like, they needed some more room. It was just a single-story home, from like 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Major second-story addition, expansion. I mean, you can see it's all new framing, so we really blew the whole thing apart.
Similar footprint to what was here before, or
similar footprint on the first floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the second floor. We try to be really conscious of how we're stepping in and the massing of the house, so it doesn't look like it's towering over the street and over the neighbors. They were really particular about wanting to fit in with the neighborhood and not be like that one giant boxy home next to the little standard bungalows.
Right.
That said, they did want it to feel like a brand new home inside.
Sure.
Much higher ceilings, much bigger rooms, more bathrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I see there's a garage back there. Are they doing like an ADU, or is that something?
They
a
didn't
future
want
thing?
to, but they may in the future. They actually are using it, or were using it before we started construction as an office.
Yeah.
But who knows? As the kids get bigger and they want their own space to play and hang out, might make sense.
I think they had said they'd recently redone the garage too, so they really wanted to put the money in here.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why don't you give me a little tour and
Yeah.
show me
Let's do it.
some aspects here?
So we're in the living room right now. Nice big living room, family room area here. Right behind you is the front door, so you kind of walk into this really open, kind of, what do you call it, like vestibule, kind of stair entrance, two-story open space here. Really flood some light down into the stairwell for the client.
Big open kitchen to the backyard there.
Yeah, they have a really big deck in the back, which we're still trying to figure out materials on and what we're going to do with, but they really wanted to have that sense of like indoor-outdoor living. So we're going to have some nice big slide-fold doors there that open up, and that most of that deck right there is covered too, so they can be outside at any time of the year, which is great. We have an office down on this side and a bathroom over here and 1 bedroom, but all the other bedrooms are located upstairs. We found a kind of a nice little area to tuck away, kind of a laundry room. It's going to be some built-in cabinets and kind of hiding everything here, which it's always nice to put that stuff out of sight.
Locating a stair
Yeah.
tends to be somewhat of a challenge in an existing home. It does take up a good amount of space, so we try to make, in a nice area with double height space and really opening up. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And just the ceiling height difference is huge because this was an older home. The ceiling heights were about 8 feet. And,
I think we're closer to 12 down here right at the moment, which is great.
I like it. Do we want to go upstairs or
Sure, yeah.
let's
Let's
check
take a
out the bedrooms? I'll follow you guys.
look. There's no windows yet, so watch your step.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing some really nice beam work here. We'll finish this all out so that it really feels nice and kind of like a centerpiece of the house here.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little deck off of the front here. We just finished waterproofing. Just a little sitting area for them in the morning.
And when did you guys broke ground a few months ago on
Yeah,
this? Or?
3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. This one moves pretty quick, but waiting on windows, manufacturer delays. But I think they're due to arrive in 2 weeks, so we can get them in and wrap up the house and really push forward for them. They're eager to get in here.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a little study nook, storage area for the kids, little desk area. And then there are 2 kids' bedrooms here with a nice Jack and Jill bathroom that they can share. And then you're kind of walking into the primary bedroom here.
Okay.
So they have their closet, and then the main bedroom and the main bathroom here.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little skylight above the.
Skylight in the shower.
And
Shower
so that's
area.
a wet room area.
Cool.
Yeah. We're happy to do this for them. They're really eager. They've been wanting to do it for a long time, so we want to get this wrapped up for them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What other than like window challenges? What anything in Culver City?
We love Culver City.
We love Culver
Yeah,
City.
it's just been a little bit more difficult permitting wise since the pandemic. During the pandemic, they made a lot of shifts the way that they do things. It's kind of been a little challenging with timelines with getting permits, but once we had the permit, the client was ready to go. We broke ground right away.
Cool.
Yeah, that tends to cause delays. And then up here, I think it feels like a great space with a vault.
Yeah.
This
Like
will
it.
be the bed wall, so windows in between, and we're in Culver City. It's a densely populated area. So, we want to really kind of turn it inwards, also, and provide natural light. So.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Kind of facing their views out that way because
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess remind everyone. I know we talked about it in your office a little bit, but if someone's looking to renovate their house, what's the best way to reach out?
I mean, jump on our website. We really spent a lot of time trying to be transparent about process and budgeting. There's a lot of great tools there for clients, even if they're trying to do some early estimation on what their project might cost. But we got a pretty detailed questionnaire there to fill out, and we love getting questions, and we'll respond right away, and set up an initial call to kind of review our process.
I would say first things first, they can download our project planning pack.
Yeah.
That doesn't take much time, and they can go through it even if they're not quite ready and
Yeah.
need some time. And a lot of good insights there.
Okay.
And then we are actually developing a calculator also
Yeah.
to estimate total project costs. So that's something we do for every client, but
Yeah.
they can kind of easily go into the website pretty soon. So we'll let you know when that happens.
Okay. Before we wrap up, like, what are some things you guys? I'm sure you run into. People have issues sometimes picking materials or the layout of their design. Maybe how do you guys help homeowners with that? Or
Yeah.
Well, we have full in-house interior design services. So we have a team, not just me, but also Natalie and Nora handle, all of the design and ordering, placement. Typically, often we help with permanently installed finishes and fixtures, but we can also pick furnishings, rugs, accessories, really anything. a
like
client
the
wants.
placement of the bed and the
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
even as early as our conceptual design, when we're just hand sketching to scale, we'll actually show furnishings. We actually offer also to clients, if you have that couch, that bed, that dresser drawer that
Right.
you want to fit somewhere, give us the dimensions and we'll put it into the plans from the get-go, so we know
Yeah.
that it fits within the design.
Nice.
But then there are some clients that maybe they don't have those pieces, or it's a new home, new furnishings. We can also help with selections, placement, and also ordering, because
Okay.
we get discounts that clients don't get, and we can pass that discount along.
Yeah, it's really important even at this phase in the project before we actually close up the house and start closing up the walls.
Yeah.
Say the clients are really interested in a certain couch or layout for their living room or their entertaining space or their gym, knowing that they're going to want power or low voltage or certain lighting. We really want to think through all those things early, even before we're at this point. But even sometimes, like you asked, if there's problems that come up, it's like clients here haven't really selected their furniture yet, but they do want outlets to feed certain parts of the couch or where lamps are going to be. So we're really pushing them at this point to let us help them make those decisions, because we're at a point now we want to start closing up the house, and we don't want to change things later and create more work for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's different. Certain clients are more decisive, even about certain things than other things.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we try to be, sensitive to that and not throw on like, oh, you need to decide on 200 items right now.
Yeah.
We try
Right.
to kind of space it out,
Yeah.
and if we feel like they need some extra time on certain things, then we can be a little bit more flexible and say, well, maybe you need floor outlets in multiple locations just to cover you if you do, decide to even change a use of a room,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to do it while you're roughing in than after the fact.
Yeah,
So,
you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for the tour.
Yeah.
Again, you made my this old house dreams came true. So it's a new house. Yes. But yeah, check out Letter 4 on their website, on all the social media. I think you're on Instagram. Beautiful. You guys have a lot of beautiful projects, and including this one. I love the roughness. I like the framing and everything. I like seeing that. So
I mean, it's a fun stage. It's when it all kind of is visible and comes together.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
your time.
Take care.
Thanks.